103.2 Preston FM.
Your community.
Your radio.
Domestic violence is still largely a hidden crime. Those who have experienced abuse from a partner or ex-partner will often try to keep it from families, friends, or authorities. On average, 35 assaults happen before the police are usually called in. And to talk about the White Ribbon campaign is Liz Stanton and Jannet Walker. So a very good morning to you both.
Morning.
Hello.
It's lovely to meet you. And maybe you could just tell us, Liz, you're from...
I'm from Clare House, South Ribble Women's Refuge.
And so you've been involved then quite heavily with the White Ribbon campaign.
Yes.
And Jannet, you're from...
I'm from Marsden Rosethorne Solicitors, and I'm the business development manager there, and working alongside with Claire with Liz at Clare House.
And we were just saying just before coming on air now that particularly one of the biggest issues is women over 40. Is it not reporting the abuse that they're suffering, or is it often the fact that they are frightened to report it because they don't know what then will happen once they've done that?
I'm not sure why it is, but it should be that we're getting a good reflection of all age ranges, and for some reason when women get to a certain age, we're just not getting the referrals from them. So we endeavoured to try and get our message out there by doing the campaign that we're running at the moment with Marsden Rawthorns, where we've gone into hairdressers and asked them to put up a poster of a woman of a particular age. And it's got a bit more information on than you'd normally have, because we think that a hairdresser's perhaps a safe place that you can go to, and a place where you can probably read more without anybody realising what you're doing.
Mm.
And it could just be that there's somebody actually listening to this programme who is suffering some kind of abuse and have never been able to talk about it or do anything about it. And they might actually recognise some of these statements on the poster. One which says, "He reads all my texts and knows all my passwords. I stopped seeing friends because he keeps ringing me when I'm out. He knows what every penny is spent on and I can never do right. And sex is a duty, not a joy. He makes me feel useless. And life with him is like walking on eggshells." And I'm sure that last one, walking on eggshells, is something that will resound with lots of people who maybe are suffering from some form of abuse or abusive relationship.
Yes. And you know, if they are, if you are doubting your relationship, if you feel that your relationship's uncomfortable and you can't quite put your finger on it, if you want to ring up and talk about it, we're out there to listen to you, and we'll discuss it with you, as are all the other refuges in Lancashire and Britain. But if in particular you want to ring us, do you want me to give out a telephone number?
Yes, please do, and we'll mention it again later. Right,
well, we're on 01772 435 865, and that's the 24-hour number. And Preston is 01772 201 601. And they're a 24-hour number as well. And if you just want to run by us what's going on in your relationship and want to talk to somebody outside of your family and your friends, feel free to do so.
And often, and this statement is often made to do with many forms of abuse against someone, from people who maybe have quite a nice life and they don't have issues in their life. They will usually say, well, why doesn't she just walk out and leave him? The amount of times I've heard that, and you must have heard that. Yeah. How do you respond to that statement?
Well, you know, when you enter into a relationship, it's not always just the horrid bits, is it? There are the lovely bits as well, and you hope to get the lovely bits back. There are also children, there are finances, there's so many things that bind you together. And when you get to a certain age, I think perhaps it might get to the point where there are so many ties that keep you there that actually it's amazing that you ever do leave, rather than why doesn't she leave? It's incredible that they actually manage it in the end. I think some research was done in our area that said, why do women not leave? And the majority of women said they don't leave because they hope that he will change and for the sake of the children. And the majority of women who left because they realised he never would change, and they left because of the impact on the children. So. Yeah.
And that is a biggie, isn't it?
Yeah.
The promises, or next time will be different. Next time things will be better.
Exactly.
It won't happen again. There are all the statements that, in a way, they are entrapment statements, aren't they, to keep somebody with you? Yeah.
If somebody you're living with does absolutely nothing to change their behaviour, then their behaviour won't change. If they don't seek outside help, if they don't attend, a course to address their behaviour, then they're never going to change. So, if you stick around, it's not going to change.
And the other course kind of misnomer is when people say that the children won't know. Come on, if you live in a family,
they do know.
Yeah, the children do know, don't they? You pick up the emotions, you pick up the sentiments, you may just be at the top of the stairs or in bed and you hear what's going on downstairs. So often the children are more aware than the two adults.
I think as well with this campaign as well, after the children point, it's the ones that when the children have gone away as well, and then it's more, it might not be physical, it might be, more financial and mental. And then they can't get out again because it's the abuse of the financial. Well, you'll never be able to leave me because where are you going to go and what you're going to do?
Or it might be that you have a circle of friends that you've had established for 30 odd years. It might be that you're ashamed or what have you. But you know what? There is a life out there that you can have. You don't have to live like that. You don't have to live your life walking on eggshells. And the women that have come to us over a certain age, who have moved on, have found happiness. You can start again and you can enjoy life.
And that's why it's good for somebody to talk to you, isn't it? Because if you're in it and you don't know how to get out of it, you probably don't think that there can be ending to it, and it could be a nice ending, but you're in a position to be able to explain that, there might be quite a period of time where things are really quite bad, but in focusing on what you want to achieve and with the right kind of support, you can have a nice life.
Exactly. Some women, come and stay with us just for respite, though. They just to have a break.
Is that right?
And I think sometimes when they go back to their partners, it sort of pulled their partners up a bit short and thought, well, she's not going to stick around forever. I can't treat her like this. And things can change for that reason as well. So even if you just want time to think, that's what we're there for.
And how did the solicitors become involved? What was it that you wanted to be part of this campaign?
I think at Marston Rawsthorns anyway, we just wanted to be more involved in the community. And we do work alongside, obviously, various organisations that are on the poster. And obviously, when I first met Liz and some of the staff as well at Clare House, I mean, the invaluable work that they do there is just incredible, and it really opened my eyes. And obviously, we fed that back to our company at Marston Rawsthorns, and obviously we really wanted to do something, but it was coming up with something which we've always said we've all not got tons and tons of money to throw away, throw around on bus campaigns and all this. But we really wanted to do something, but it was coming up with something that we felt would be recognised and beneficial to Clare House, really. And then obviously it just grew a little bit, didn't it, because of other organisations in the area, and we didn't want to leave anybody out, so which was great for us. But no, we're just over the moon that being able to sort of put something back to to the people who do a great job.
And again, supporting people to be able to talk about it, because I mean, it is, as it says there, that domestic violence is still, even though we talk about it, and after the programme, was it in the 60s, the 70s, Cathy Come Home, things began to change, but it's still one of those things that happens behind closed doors.
Definitely.
And it's a power base, isn't it? It's somebody with power over you, who's using that power to threaten you, to keep you, to whatever. And I mean, do we have more people willing to talk these days, or to realise that they shouldn't have to live that kind of existence and they have every right to have a nice life? Are people able to talk more than maybe they used to?
I don't know. There are some statistics that in all the time I've ever worked in domestic abuse, unfortunately, have stayed the same. So, things have moved on in a lot of ways. The police have moved forward.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. And working together with other agencies has moved on tremendously as well. But you know what? Still 2 women a week die in this country.
Yes.
Every week 2 women die as a result of domestic abuse, it still equates to 25% of all violent crime in this country. You know, those statistics just seem to stay the same. So, somewhere along the line, we're not getting our message out there. And in our area in particular, those women who have died recently due to domestic violence are over the age of 50. Yeah, so it ties in with what we're trying to do, is get to that older woman. So I think a lot of younger women will come to us earlier than they used to do. But they'll still put up with a fair bit of abuse because they have children or because they hope that he'll change. Yeah. And I don't know, part of me thinks that maybe we need to be in schools and we need to be educating our children that this isn't acceptable. And we do try and get into schools as part of our work at Clare House. But still, we're seeing people coming through fleeing domestic violence, and it can't be right in this day and age.
No, I agree. And we have had, again, some cases over the last year that I can remember of domestic violence of people in the 60s, etc. So, again, for somebody listening and they're worried about how they would cope financially, about the home, there would be the advice and the support for them, wouldn't there, in moving forward?
Definitely. Any way that we can help. It's not just about getting away from domestic violence. It's the whole package. So women who are often in situations like this are bogged down with debt. They might have drug or alcohol issues, because, you know, if somebody hits you, the best way to get rid of that pain is perhaps to drink or misuse drugs, things like that. It could be that they have parenting issues because they've had to deal with their children in a particular way just to protect them from the violence that's going on in the home. Anything that we can do to help, we can either help them directly or we can signpost them or pull in the right agencies to be able to help them.
Right.
And we'll be there all the way until they've moved on to where they want to be in life.
And also from that as well, you know, from Clare House and the other ones that are on the poster as well, you know, Marston Rawson are also there to help in giving the right advice on how they move it forward and how, after they've made a decision, where they can go legally and financially, you know, we're there as well to help on that side of it as well.
Because that's really important, isn't it? I was just looking that you have a specialist family law department.
We do, yeah.
And I mean, that often can help relieve a lot of the worry and the tensions that someone has, just knowing what their rights are, what they can do, what they can... In fact, it's giving them back power, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's empowering them to take charge of their own life once again.
And knowing that they've got the support, you know, and just having the right information, because I think sometimes people don't realise that they can do things, you know, you get them mentally and whatever, but they don't know the legal rights actually and what they are entitled to and not entitled to and which way they can move, you know, which obviously we can help them with that in that area, you know.
And that's really important. So tell us just a little about the pledge against domestic violence then and the campaign.
Well, the White Ribbon campaign was started up by some men in Canada. I can't remember exactly when. I think it was in the 90s, but I'm not 100% sure. And I think it was a group of men who decided they didn't want to be part of the abuse, so they set up the White Ribbon campaign. And there are 3 pledges, which is they will not condone, they will not commit, and they will not bear witness to domestic abuse. And for 16 days every year, they wear a white ribbon that says that they pledge these 3 things. And that runs from the 25th of November, which is International Human Rights Day, all the way to the 10th of December, which is another important day, which I'll be honest, I've forgotten what it is. But
that's okay.
South Ribble Council have just signed up to being a White Ribbon Council, so, you know,
right.
The council themselves have signed the pledge. I'm pretty sure Preston is part of that as well.
Yes, I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
I'm sure some guests on the station have mentioned that, yes.
So it's more to put the onus back onto men to say, you know what, this is your problem as well, yeah, and you need to be part of the solution, which is you mustn't accept what is going on. And maybe that is the way that we can move forward and stop domestic abuse to the level that it's happening in our country.
So again then, Liz, where's the telephone numbers or anybody listening who needs to talk to somebody? And I'm sure you would be urging somebody to talk if they're
definitely
living that kind of life, which in fact is not a life because it's not your own life.
No. We only get one chance, don't we? So let's make the best of it. So our telephone number for South Ribble is 01772 435 865. If you're in the Preston area, it's 01772 201 601.
And again, for any kind of legal advice, if you just want to talk and find out about legal aspects.
Yeah, we're in Marston Rosethorns, sort of all of Lancashire, but we are based in Fulwood and at Bookshaw Village in Chorley as well. So, and we are on a website as well if anybody wants to, go online and have a look. So.
And you can also get details from the poster. You'll see the poster. It says many women over 40 do not realise they're in an abusive relationships. There's telephone numbers down there and contacts. So love to, and particularly at this time of year. I mean, this week, even on Chat City and things that I've been doing around Preston. For a lot of people, it's a happy family Christmas time.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it isn't, is it?
No.
And it can be the worst time of the year.
Yeah, it can. We were talking about
just been having this conversation before. Amazing.
Janet was asking, do we get a lot of phone calls at Christmas? And I think a lot of women will try their best to keep the family together for Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, he lashes out and she realises that she just can't live like this anymore, and we get a lot of referrals directly after Christmas. And it can be that when you're on call at Christmas, lots of people are phoning you on Christmas Day in tears saying this has happened and that has happened. And what tends to happen is they try their hardest to make a really good Christmas, and then it falls flat and they turn up on our door the next day on Boxing Day with nothing. They've left the toys, everything. So we always keep a good stash of toys at Clare House to make up for what you've left behind. And there's nothing that can't be replaced, yeah. When you want to move on and start a new life, it doesn't matter if you turn up with nothing. It's better if you turn up with a few things, mind. But if you turn up with nothing, we can get everything. We can get stuff, yeah. Stuff is easy to acquire. It's the quality of life that you and your children should be looking for, that you can get by coming to Clare House.
Right. So if anybody listening to this programme recognises that story or recognises what's just been said, please talk to somebody. So can I thank Liz and Janet for coming into Chat City this morning?
Thanks very much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you've got a story or an event that you'd like to talk to Hughie about, why not email us at studio@preston.fm.